Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys. What a day we've got planned. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You see what we did? We rested two big guns and still came out with a dub, Skip. That's what we do.
Shannon Sharpe, what is going on with your man LeBron James? He keeps leaking he's going to play against the Knicks, then he's going to play against the Rockets, and I think he's just resting on his laurels from last year. He shows up for the banner raising, and he doesn't even play against the lowly Rockets. Maybe he's going to take the rest of the year off. Maybe he's done. I don't know.
Let me tell you how confident we are. We might not play LeBron and AD in the play-in game.
Oh.
And just wait for the real thing to start. That's how confident we feeling right now.
We'll see about
You're
that.
feeling that confident. I do not understand what's going on with LeBron. I hope that both of you can explain it to me later. But I would like to start somewhere else. We are so excited to break down the NFL's first ever 17-game regular season schedule for 2021. And we are going to take a full look at the Cowboys' entire schedule, tell you their record. Skip and Shannon may disagree there, but only appropriate. We begin with the defending champs. And one game we've all wondered about and can now officially circle in red Sharpie is Week 4 when Tom Brady and the Bucs travel to New England to face Bill Belichick and his former team of 20 years where Brady won 6 Super Bowl rings. He can become the 4th quarterback in league history to defeat all 32 teams. In fact, the NFL's director of broadcasting and a member of the scheduling team calls it, quote, a once-in-a-lifetime game. So, Shannon, who wins Week 4 at Foxborough, and what is the Bucs' overall record here?
Well, Skip, it doesn't happen very often. That's why in the 100-year, 101-year history now, there have only been 4 quarterbacks to defeat all the teams, because normally the quarterbacks, Skip, they stay there for perpetuity. They retire or they go to some downtrodden team. We saw Johnny Unitas finish, if I'm not mistaken, Skip. I think he finished in San Diego.
He did.
I think Joe Namath was with a Ram.
He was.
And they weren't very good. So if they played the previous team, they weren't good enough or in a good enough situation to win. But you look at Peyton Manning, you look at, I think, Drew Brees and Brett Favre, probably the others, and no one really thought that Tom Brady, when he was in year 18, 19, would even have an opportunity to ever play against the Patriots. So this is probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But for me, Skip, I believe the Patriots are going to be a much better football team. And this is what we know. Coach Belichick, at some point in time, has given every quarterback he faced a problem. Maybe not the second time around, but the first time around. And this is the first time that Coach Belichick is actually playing a live game plan, preparing a live game plan for Tom Brady. Now, Skip, we know in practice, 2-minute drill or things of that nature, Coach Belichick probably would come up with schemes and says, okay, Tom, this is what I'm going to give you today, and then let's see how you handle it. And then he and Tom can sit down and say, well, I'm thinking the defensive coordinator is going to do this, because this is what I would do if you came out in this formation, in this down and distance, in this area of the field. So it was a great back and forth, and Tom Brady learned some valuable things. And so I think I don't consider this is the first time, Skip. I really think that Coach Belichick maybe has given Tom Brady too much information, because Tom knows things about Coach Belichick and what he likes to call in certain areas of the field. But I'm going to take the Patriots to win this game in the upset. The Bucs will be coming off a long West Coast trip. They play Week 3. They play at the Rams. The Rams normally give them fit with that pass rush. Now they come all the way back to Tampa, try to prepare, and then get ready for New England. New England with their addition, Skip. Cam Newton is going to be another year further removed from that surgery. Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Trent Brown at tackle. I think they made upgrades. They brought Nelson Aguilar in. They brought Nelson Bourne in. They've revamped this, and basically, Skip, this offense is going to be anew. This is not the offense that we saw last year. We're going to see a different offense. I believe they're better this year around. And so I'm going to take the Patriots in an upset. And I'm going to go and put them cases of due on it, because I don't want you to try to wiggle out because something unforeseen might happen. But we got due on it right now. I'm taking the Patriots in an upset.
How much due? Name it.
All right. Okay, let's start. We're gonna start with 3 cases, and we could possibly build our way up all the way up to like 5 or 6.
The sky is the limit on how many cases you want to lose to me on October 3rd, Sunday night, for our Monday show on October 4th. I cannot wait, because I'm going to be sitting in this very chair in all my glory, gloating about the maybe 10 cases of Diet Mountain Dew that I just won the night before from you, thanks to Thomas, Edward, Patrick, Brady Jr. Shannon Sharpe, there is absolutely no way in heaven, no way in hell, that Tom Brady is going to lose to Bill Belichick in Foxborough, Massachusetts on Sunday night, October 3rd. It will not happen, because Tom Brady will not allow it to happen. That is his house more than it is Belichick's house. Right now, yes. Belichick's basically just squatting in Tom's old house. Tom Brady, I used to say, was 75% of the dynasty, and now I've gone up to, as I told you last year, 90% of the credit he deserves for the New England dynasty, because all he did in his first year away from Belichick was to completely recreate the Patriot way in Tampa Bay, and he turned a 7-9 team into a Super Bowl winner during a pandemic. I have never seen anything like it in the history of sports, and he showed you once and for all, I was the reason we were winning those championships in Foxborough. And he's going to go in there and put Belichick back in his place face to face. And he will delight in it. Now, I'm going to give you this. You mentioned the West Coast trip that they're going to have to undergo before they go to Foxborough. And I will give you this. On the Buccaneers' schedule, to me, easily the most dangerous game is at the Rams. Again, it'll be Matt Stafford this time instead of Jared Goff. But we saw what Jared Goff did to the Tampa Bay defense at Tampa Bay last year, as you recall. And that, was it a Sunday or Monday night game? Okay, it was a night game, and it was a nightmare is what it was. And they have to go to the Rams on September 26th ahead of going to the Patriots. So the Rams are actually sitting pretty, because it's possible that at least Brady would be looking ahead to New England, if not just by osmosis, just by contagious effect, that the whole team will have its mind starting to head back toward Foxborough before they take care of business at Rams. So I give you that the Rams are in a really beneficial spot on the schedule. But I don't think that's going to help. I don't think it will help the Rams or the Patriots. I look at the schedule and I say, Shannon, it just might be the easiest schedule in the NFL, and Brady and company are the defending champs. So I know it's one game at a time, and I fully realize we do this every year, that this schedule in December might look a lot different than it does in May.
Exactly.
Because of,
it does.
you know, injuries and this team rises, this team falls unexpectedly.
Right. Yeah.
It always happens. But the harder I look at this schedule, the more I like Brady's chances of going 17-0. Oh, and if they go 17-0, then I have no idea how they wouldn't have 2 home games and a Super Bowl with a shot at getting to 20-0. I told you yesterday, it wouldn't shock me at all if they went 20-0. But the only sure shot on here, even sure than sweeping the division against your basic Atlantas and Carolinas and no breeze in New Orleans, the only sure shot on here for me is Tom Brady will beat the Patriots. He'll be somewhere around a 3.5, 4-point favorite. And I've got the score of that game 32-10, Brady over Belichick. And I'm here to suggest it won't feel much like a home game for Belichick, because I think the Patriot crowd is going to be half-hearted in their cheering for the home team. I think their emotions are going to be seriously mixed, and they won't be able to help themselves from cheering when Brady does throw 3 touchdown passes, maybe a couple to Gronkowski, just for the sake of the good old days. So I got 32-10, Brady over Belichick on October 3rd.
Well, Skip, I think the thing is that his return will be a lot different than some of the returns that we've seen in the NBA, where the player gets booed. We saw what happened with KD when he went back to OKC. We saw what what happened to LeBron when he went back to Cleveland, and to a lesser degree, somewhat when he went back to Miami. So I believe the Brady homecoming will be less contentious than what we saw with those guys. And I also believe, Skip, the players, the Buccaneer players, will be highly motivated to make sure and try to secure this victory for Tom, because they know how much it's going to mean to him. Now, Tom Brady's going to say, hey, it's just, Skip, we know Tom. Tom is going to be cliche-ish in this one. It's just another game. Yep. It's just, we're just trying to get better. We just hope we can go in there and play well. But we know deep down what it would mean to him to go back, forget the Patriots. It's the guy that's standing on the sideline that's not going to take a snap that Tom Brady really wants to get back at. Yep. He loves his teammates that he played with. They wasn't the one that ran him out of town. No. It was the guy that's standing on the sideline with the cutoff hoodie that's doing the Subway commercial now, Skip, that ran him out of town. So he's going to want to get back at him. And I say this again, Skip, maybe Coach Belichick gave him too much information, because he's going to know that after 20 years of being with someone, that length of time, Skip, in those meeting rooms and going over situation after situation, because think about it, it's very seldom that you can catch Tom Brady in a situation that he's unfamiliar with, because Coach Belichick has done a great job, and Tom Brady has done a great job of not only listening, but being able to retain and recall info that he's received from Coach Belichick. But, Skip, I just believe with what they've done with this Patriots team, the way they've rebuilt it, if the guys that they brought in play to what we think they can play to, now we're not asking them to be all world. I don't expect Nelson Aguilar, Skip, to all of a sudden turn into Devontae Adams. I don't expect Kendrick Bourne to be Julio Jones. And I don't expect those two tight ends to be Darren Waller or Travis Kelce. I'm not expecting that. But I expect them to play better than what they had the last several years. Also going back, Skip, is Gronk. You know, Gronk don't really care. Gronk just like, hey, I'm here. Hey, Tommy, you want to get Coach Belichick? Hey, throw me a couple of tutties. Yep. Hey, I'll celebrate. I'll spike it. We'll have us a good old time. Yep. But this might be, obviously, Skip, you know, he's starting the Thursday night game. But this might be one of the most anticipated games in a very, very long time, because we don't see it. I remember when San Francisco played the 49ers, went to Arrowhead to play Joe, and it was a big deal. I remember when Peyton went back to Indy, it was a big deal. Yep. Well, that's on that level, because those quarterbacks was on Tom Brady level, and for the most part, we never thought we'd see that quarterback in a different color uniform, let alone playing his former team. But with all that being said, I'm taking the Patriots in an upset, Skip. I'm going to say the final score be 29-26.
And I have to ask, your quarterback will be who?
Oh, week 3 going to be Cam. You know Cam always do that thing to Brady. You know Cam always do it to Brady. Okay. Do it to him.
I get that, but you've been telling me for months on this show that Mac Jones was the guy in this group of quarterbacks. Yeah. So you're not going to start him in week 1?
No, but I also told you this. I believe Cam starts week 1. I just don't believe he'll have the long leash that he had last year to play as bad as he did in some stretches. And Coach Belichick says, Cam is our quarterback, Cam is our quarterback. Given that you have Mac Jones, that you selected with the 15th pick in the draft, Skip, I don't believe Cam can play as bad as he played at spurts last year for as long as he did and maintain his job. But that'll only be the 3rd week of the season. So I don't see any reason. Well, excuse me, you're right. The 4th week of the season. I don't see any reason. I don't see how Cam loses his job the first month of the season. So Cam is the starting quarterback, and I think he runs his record of probably like, 2-0, 3-0 against Brady? Because you know he did it to him on the last second pass in New England. He did it to him on that Monday night when Tom Brady chased the official off the field. You remember that, Skip Bayless. He should have been fined for that. He accosted that official.
And I remind you, last year, Cam Newton's QBR ranked 30th out of 33 qualified quarterbacks. He's not in Carolina anymore. He's not a young man anymore. I say good luck to you. In fact, you want to give me a couple of points? I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're going to give me the line. You're going to give me the line.
Okay, I'll do it right now. I will give you whatever the line is for 5 cases right now.
Do it. Done.
Thank you.
Done.
Thank you.
Done.
Okay,
Done.
now I want you to tell me, what do you think Tampa Bay's record will be this year?
I already told you. I told you yesterday, 13-4.
Well, I thought maybe you'd sleep on it and come to your senses.
No. Skip, there's a reason why only 2 teams have gone into the playoffs with an undefeated regular season record. The 72 Dolphins and the 07 Patriots.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It's extremely hard. You have to be fortunate, win a couple of close games, Skip, last-second field goal, somebody misses a last-second field goal, and you have to maintain great health.
You do.
Great health. Remember, you're adding an extra game now, Skip.
Okay.
So, for me, I'm going to stick with the 13-4.
Okay. I'm going to stick with 17-0 because I find it hard. And again, you told me yesterday what your 4 were. I think you had Rams. I know you had Colts, Bills, and I don't know what your other one was.
Hold up. I forgot. That Monday night game, rematch. We're going to get you this time. You got off the hook last time, the Giants.
Oh, are you going to go to 5?
Nope.
No?
Skip, look, here's the thing. See, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to pin me down. I'm saying 13-4, and if I'm off a game, well, they win a game that I thought they were going to lose, but you said they were going to lose. But if they lose a game I thought they were going to win, then you hold that against me. I'm just going to say, look, of those 17 games that you see on the screen right now, the Buccaneers will lose 4 of those ball games. How about that?
All right. And what achievement tortured Brady the most when he failed to grasp it in the end? It was to go 19-0, right? It still haunts him to this day.
Yeah, that's what he told me.
What if he could eclipse that with 20-0 this year to just cap it off? Wouldn't that be the final biggest feather in the cap, to go 20-0? I'm sure Tom Brady is thinking about that right now. Obviously, you have to take one game at a time. You got to get your health breaks. I get that. But this schedule, in fact, I saw the ESPN analyst Mike Clay, he graded this schedule the easiest in pro football this year. Just on last year's win-loss records, it's the 4th easiest. So you've got that sitting out there for Brady to shoot at. And again, I give you danger at Rams, and then they have 3 in a row danger games in late November, early December. They go at Indy, at Atlanta, and Buffalo at home. But do you really think that those teams will beat Tom Brady? I don't. And go ahead.
Well, Skip, you know this. Division games are a lot tougher. Sometimes, teams are not very good within your division. But when you play a division opponent, something about the familiarity. Now, there are going to be maybe some situations there's no Drew Brees. Carolina has a new quarterback. Matt Ryan has a new weapon. We'll see if Julio still remains there after June 1st. But division games are a lot tougher sometimes than we give them credit for. And the teams might be terrible outside the division. But it's something about playing a division opponent, being familiar with that. So for me, Skip, I like I said, 13. Skip, you make it seem like I said they're going to be, 10-7. 13-4 is a very good schedule. I mean, a very good record considering you got an extra game.
I got it, but we're light years apart when you got 4 losses and I got none. And
you out your mind, though.
Okay, let me throw this back at you very quickly. I want you just to react to this. This is Tom Brady throwing to, let's start at the top, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. Then let's go to the tight ends. There's this guy Gronk. There's Cameron Brate. O.J. Howard will be back.
Correct.
Then let's keep going down the list. There's Scotty Miller. There's Tyler Johnson. And they added Gio Bernard as a third down catchback, a James White type, right?
Yes.
And then you got Fournette and Rojo running the ball, as well as my little man from Vanderbilt, Keyshawn Vaughn, if he ever gets out of the doghouse. And then you've got a top 5 offensive line whose starting right guard was injured in the Super Bowl. Alex Kappa will be back in place of Aaron Stinney, who can still back up any of the positions in the offensive line. So my point is, what's not to love about that? Is that not dynamic? Is that not juggernaut to you?
Yeah, it is, Skip. But here's you know why the strength of schedule is so easy? They play the Cowboys. They play the NFC East. Anybody that has that division that's playing that division has an easy schedule.
I'm with you. They got a gimme, and they threw my team to the Wolves in game number 1 at Tampa Bay on Thursday night. That's
Good.
just not
and I
fair.
wanted to feast.
That's
it
just
is fair.
Wrong place, wrong time. Okay? The defense last year for the Bucs didn't even spring to life until the third to last game. They weren't very good until at Breeze, at Rodgers, and then Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, right?
Okay.
And you don't think they'll carry that momentum into this year because everybody is back. You thought Shaq Barrett would be gone. You thought Sue would be gone. And all of a sudden, they are back because they all want to run it back. And there's still a Vita Vea. There's still a JPP. Obviously, there's a Devin White. And there's a Levante David. And that secondary was very young last year, and it will only get better by the snap. It's loaded. And I think Todd Bowles is right up there with Bill Belichick as a guy who can coach and call defenses. So what's not to love about that defense now?
I know, Skip, for me, it's hard for defenses to maintain that level of intensity. We've seen offenses be able to maintain a level of greatness more so than defenses because the 85 Bears statistically were better in 86, but that's the only one. You look at the Steelers defenses, you look at the 2000 Ravens, you look at the 02 Bucs, you look at the 12 Seahawks, Skip, the level the next year, they weren't quite the same as they were in previous years. They were still very good, but they were not the elite what we remember, with the exception of the Bears. So, Skip, I understand what you're saying. They brought everyone back, and it seemed to start clicking, and they played well. But we're going to see if they're able to maintain that level moving forward. Because the thing about the offseason, Skip, everybody goes back and they watch tape, and they see what the teams what the teams did that had success against the Buccaneers. And you're going to see more of that. You're going to have to guard more of that than what you saw in years past. So I'm not saying they're not going to be a very good team, and they could ultimately wind up being back out here in L.A. and SoFi competing for a Super Bowl. But I don't believe it's going to be as easy as you think, or maybe some of the other pundits may think. It's going to be a very difficult road because repeating, that's why we've had so few champs repeat, because it's a lot difficult to win the second one than it is the first one.
Shannon Sharpe, a 44-year-old quarterback in Tampa Bay is going to make you have another long, hard NFL season sitting across from me.
Well, the question I got for Tom, how many regular season wins would you be willing to take off your resume in order to win this game, the fourth game of the season, October 3rd, 2021? How many games would you take off your resume in the win column to win this one? How many you think, Skip? 10, 15?
It'd be an interesting discussion. Yeah, he probably would have something to say there.
No mercy.
The Cowboys' 2021 schedule kicks off with a bang when Dak Prescott and America's team travel to Tampa to face Tom Brady and the reigning champs. Dallas will start their season off with 2 straight road games for the first time since 2012 and will be featured on Fox a whopping 10 times this season. Just how we like it. Washington won the division last year, but no team has repeated in the NFC East since the Eagles in 2003-2004. And the Cowboys are looking to extend that trend. So, Shannon, what's the Cowboys' record and who wins the NFC East?
Well, Skip, I got good news and I got bad news for you. And for me, Skip, when I was a kid, I always ate the dessert first before I ate the main meal. So I'm going to give you the good news first. I got the Cowboys winning. I got the Cowboys winning 14 games. Unfortunately for you, it's over the next 2 seasons. Hold on, time out, Skip Bayless.
That was really funny.
Hold on for a second, Skip Bayless.
Be a stand-up comic.
Skip Bayless, hold on for a second. You actually I thought you guys were going to win 14 games, considering you barely won 14 games over the last 2 years. Thank you. Skip, look. I know you say you got nickname Red. Good friend of mine, Jason Garrett. Friend of mine, not of yours. 8-8 Jason Garrett. Guess what, Skip? It's hard to be 8-8 now, considering you got an odd game. Yeah. But I can see you guys being 8-1. But you know what, Skip? Y'all not winning the division. Let me start with that first. You, Skip Bayless, your Dallas Cowboys will not win the division. The New York Football Giants are going to win the division. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go one step further. The Washington football team will finish second in the division. I'm going to take it a step further. You guys are going to finish third. third in the division with a $107 million quarterback. Skip, did you know Dak Prescott made the top 10 Forbes list of highest paid professional athletes?
Well, not just the top 10, he's fourth.
How they gonna make you feel when you don't even make the playoffs?
He's
you're not
above
making
LeBron James in income.
Don't you worry.
Way to go.
Don't worry about what LeBron James makes. Stop counting that man's pocket. Skip, look. At some point in time, we got to stop. Oh, we got 3 receivers that can get you 1,000 yards. And we got an offensive line. They got 2 guys that's going to probably end up in Canton. Tyron Smith and Zach Martin. And Zeke's going to have a bounce-back season. But at some point in time, you're going to have to put the level of consistency together. And I have yet to see that. In your defense, everybody keep talking about they got Dan Quinn, and he talking about rinse and repeat, but you still got the same guys that you're going to rinse and repeat with. So with all that being said, Skip Bayless, I got you guys going. I want to say 8-1. So that's my first inclination, to go 8-1. But I'll give you 1 win. I'm going to give you 1 more win. I'm going to say you're 9-8 and you don't win the division.
Okay, so what are the Giants then? Are they going to win 11?
10-7.
Okay, then how's my team going to finish third?
Easy. Y'all going to finish a tie with Washington, but Washington going to sweep you bums.
Because of Ryan Fitzmagic?
Oh, Fitzmagic. You know Fitzmagic.
Okay.
Hold on. So you saying Fitzmagic can do a job on Brady, but he ain't got nothing for Dak?
Well, he didn't do a job on Brady. He did it on Belichick.
No, he did.
Okay, my turn. I'll be the first to admit I do not love my team going into this season. But I definitely like my team more than I like the Giants or Washington or the Eagles. My team will win the NFC East. If you want to call it the least, you can. But all 4 teams will be a little bit better than they were last year, just a little bit better. And my team is the one team that got its quarterback back. Back in the saddle is the Dak attack. Dak Prescott is back. I think he'll be, 90 to 100% healthy this year, coming off a career-threatening, obviously, broken leg and dislocated ankle, requiring 2 surgeries. But by all accounts, he's ahead of schedule. Don't they always say they're ahead of schedule? I don't know.
I've never heard anybody say behind schedule.
I haven't either. But I'm willing to bet that by game number 1, which unfortunately is at Tampa Bay, thank you, NFL, for doing that to us. So we're going to be 0-1 because we're up against the juggernaut that I've already said is going to go 17-0. So that's an L. But I still say, just because we have Dak and nobody else in the division does, they have Daniel Jones and they have Fitzmagic. I guess it's Fitzmagic, or is it Taylor Heineke, or is it, what's his name, Allen? I don't know who they're going to play at quarterback. And I love Jalen Hurts just as a competitor, and I do think the Eagles will be better than you think. But I'll take Dak over Jalen right now. So just sheerly on quarterback alone, I'm going to win the division. And just by default, my defense is going to be better than it was last year because it was all-time horrible last year. It was arguably the worst defense in franchise history last year. For a while, on a record pace, giving up rushing yards, as we always talk about, 308 at home to Cleveland, and then 294 at Baltimore, and you throw all that. There were a couple other 200s at Washington and versus Arizona at home. And it was just pathetic, and it was humiliating, and it was embarrassing. So finally, we got Mike Nolan out of there. He was hired, obviously, just as a favor that it was returned by Mike McCarthy because he once gave McCarthy a job. It was a disaster of a move by Mike McCarthy. It should have made him on the hot seat and almost fireable for hiring Mike Nolan. So here comes Dan Quinn, who simply presided last year in Atlanta over the 5th worst pass defense in the history of the National Football League.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, and that's what you talk about Mike Nolan, Skip. You said Mike Nolan was historically bad, but you replaced him with somebody that was historically worse.
Yeah, because as they call him, DQ. Well, when he was in Atlanta, DQ stood for Dairy Queen, as in he just gave you a bunch of soft ice cream on defense.
Soft serve,
right?
yes.
Soft ice cream. That's what the Falcons were last year. Okay, so we go into the draft, and we land the guy that you thought was the best defensive player in the draft in Micah Parsons. Well, surely doesn't that make him a little bit better? Look, I don't love Kelvin Joseph. I wanted Patrick Surtain, as you know, but won't he make them a little bit better? And I thought they stole Jabril Cox, and he will make them better. And there's still Jalen Hurts and Wolf Hunter, and I don't know what to expect from either one of them, but at least you still have them there. They drafted that tall corner, 6'4" Nashawn Wright out of Oregon State, and he already says he's a more athletic, agile Richard Sherman. That's what he says. Well, I would prefer that they actually go sign right here, right now, the real Richard Sherman, because they need him. They need him as a tutor on defense, as a big brother on defense. And right away, I think they need him to start at cornerback, and especially going down to Tampa Bay on that opening Thursday night under the gun. I would rather have Richard Sherman in the starting lineup than Nashawn Wright or whoever, even Kelvin Joseph for that matter, because they will just get schooled by Tom Brady. So I hope they go get Richard Sherman, who obviously played for Dan Quinn once upon a time in Seattle. But they did bring in from Atlanta with Dan Quinn, Keanu Neal, for what it's worth. I think he's a little better. And Kazee.
A little better at what?
Just playing linebacker. He'll graduate from safety to linebacker because he's had an Achilles tear and an ACL tear. I think you'll give him a little thump at linebacker that they have not had. Well, I do. And
Skip, have you really looked at the Cowboys schedule?
Yeah.
You do realize y'all starting the season 0-2, right?
No, they're going to beat the Chargers at L.A. out here at SoFi. They are. That's going to be the turnaround game. That's actually, to me, a make-or-break game, a north-south game. You got to get back up on that horse and ride it out here to the Chargers after that Thursday night game. You get 10 days to prep for the Chargers. I think they can beat the Chargers and get back on a little bit of a roll.
Hello. And you do know y'all got Kansas City. Skip. Ooh, let me see. Losing at the Giants, y'all losing. At Washington football team, lost. At New Orleans, lost. At Kansas City, lost. Denver gonna beat y'all at home.
No.
At Minnesota, lost. At New England, lost. At Chargers, lost. At Tampa. Skip, that's 8 losses right there.
Okay. I agreed with everything you said except Denver at home. We can beat Denver at Jerry World. And I'm here to tell you, I think my team can sweep at Jerry World. I think they can go 8-0 at home. 8-0. I got them going 4-2 in the division with 3 home wins and 1 win away, which is the last game of the season at Philly. I believe they could win that game, which it will be required to win the division. So they go 4-2 in the division. They go 6-5 out of the division. They go 8-0 at home, 2-7 on the road. I agreed with most of your road losses.
Okay.
And that adds up to 10-7. And the rest of the division, I've got your Giants and Washington going 9-8. Not bad. And I got Philly being a little bit of surprise at 8-9 with Jalen Hurts. So it'll be a tight fit. And yet I think Dallas, just by virtue of Dak Prescott at home, will be good enough to go 10-7 and win the NFC, if you want to call it least.
Skip, you and I both thinking along the same lines. We just got we're agreement on the kind of the records in which the teams in the division are going to have. We just different on who we believe is going to get those 10 wins. You look at what the Giants added: Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney. They bring in Adoree Jackson to pair with Bradbury. Nate Solder, who he opted out at left tackle, he comes back, and they got Saquon.
Yep.
Say it loud with me.
Yep.
Saquon, who will hit a home run. You know the guy that you say all he does is one splash play, and then he only gets like 2 yards the rest of the game? Well, he go hit his head on the goalpost from 70 on you guys.
Okay.
So,
timeout. Guess who he's going to have to deal with now? Micah. Another Penn Stater that you say is the best defensive player in the draft.
Yeah,
Micah will be taking Saquon. Say it loud with me. Micah, because you love him. And he's going to be a difference maker for my defense from day one.
But the thing is, Skip, is that you blame Mike Nolan for all the ills of the defense. And Jerry went out and got somebody that was coaching a defense that was actually worse than Mike Nolan's. Now, the thing is, so what are you telling me? What are we going to get? Now, are you telling me that D-Law is going to get back to playing the level of football that he played to get that $100 million contract? Is he going to get back to that level?
Yes.
Is Michael Parsons going to be what we believe? I believe he's the best defensive player in this draft. If he plays like that, you're on to something. Now, your corner, are you telling me Trayvon Diggs is going to take that next step? Because if you get those three guys, if you get D-Law playing at the level, you get Parsons playing at a level, you get Trayvon Diggs playing at an elite level, you got three levels. Okay, now you can be into something.
Throw in Randy Gregory. I'm telling you, he's a difference maker coming off the edge, and you start to see it later last year.
This is what I do know. I know he'll get me a penalty that's going to give somebody a first down and keep a drive alive that's going to end on the touchdown. He'll get a face mask or he'll get a hands to the face that'll also keep a drive alive. So I'm counting on things like that. So at the end of and then also, Skip, you do realize in this defense, you can't gamble. You can't take those risks. You know, Trayvon Diggs like to gamble a little bit, Skip.
He does.
You can't gamble. You really can't gamble in this defense.
Okay,
So,
but you have to admit, just Micah Parsons alone has to make it a little bit better than it was a year ago. Just the fresh blood alone, just the kids alone, they're talented kids. It's going to have to be a little bit better. And even you, I know deep down, you think this defense could turn out to be pretty special if it all comes together and the kids grow up fast.
Well, it ain't kids no more. Michael Parsons needs to play well. But, Skip, if you look at the Giants last year, they were at a top 10 defense. They're ninth in scoring. They add a Z Ojulari, who can bend the edge. Big Leonard Williams got paid, who could collapse the pocket. And on that back end, Patrick Graham coaching that defense up, a New England's protege, Coach Belichick. You know that, Skip, last year, they gave Tom Brady fits. And if they, Skip, everything, look, this division, everything's going to be predicated on the quarterback. We can make it about the defenses. We can make it about the special teams. We can make it about whatever we want. But it's going to come down to does Dak Prescott outplay Daniel Jones, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Jalen Hurts? Or can one of those guys outplay Dak Prescott?
Shannon, thank you. You just summed it up. You are stuck. You and your Giants are stuck with Daniel Jones turnover machine. Case closed. Thank you.
Daniel Jones going to rush for 55 yards and a touchdown against you guys and beat you.
Okay. Well,
and how does it going to make you feel?
too soon to know.
That's
also,
all you got?
We're going to talk more Cowboys. They also put out a pretty incredible hype video that is all Jerry, all over the place. You're going to want reaction from these guys coming up later. But we got to talk about LeBron right now. It's time for a trending story brought to you by the all-new Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need. After not playing against the Knicks, LeBron was set to make his return against the Rockets last night, where the Lakers also unveiled their latest championship banner. But for the second game in a row, LeBron opted not to suit up as he continues to recover from a high ankle sprain that has now cost him 25 of the last 27 games. He took to Twitter to let Lakers fans know, saying this: getting close, but I won't be in the lineup tonight. But more importantly, I will be there to put that championship banner in the rafters at Staples Center in front of our fans. Which was a very special moment. But we want to see LeBron on the court. Shannon, what is going on here?
Well, I was surprised that he didn't play, Skip, and the people that were close to LeBron that's knowledge of this situation said he looked really good in practice. He was able to have some lift. He was able to do hard planting and cutting, and he did it without having discomfort. So I was under the impression, if not Tuesday, he was going to play Wednesday. I knew he wasn't going to play. I knew he wasn't going to play back-to-back games, but I was under the indication, and Vogel said last night, Skip, that was a soft return. There was nothing etched in stone. It was not definitive. But I think a lot of that had to do with them playing the Rockets without any of their top players playing. No Christian Woods, no Porter, no John Wall. And so Vogel was under the impression that, you know what, we should be able, with what we have. Hey, Skip, you see what Drum did? Less than 22 minutes, 20 and 10. You saw that, right? You see what's starting to happen. A regular occurrence, double-digit rebounds, high rebounds. So I was surprised that LeBron didn't play. And I was getting nervous because I thought they were going to run away with the game. And then all of a sudden, the Rockets made as many threes as the Lakers attempted, and that kept them in the ball game. But LeBron, Skip, I think the thing is what's happening here is that I believe they've come to the conclusion we're going to be able to play in. Because we got to win out and then hope. Now, Portland's theoretically, they still got Phoenix, they still got Denver. They theoretically could lose out, but they're playing extremely well. I don't expect Dallas to lose out, anything like that. So I think they believe that they're probably going to be relegated to the play-in game. And I want LeBron James 100% healthy if that's the situation. But the way with the way THT is playing and those guys are playing, we might not even play them until we have to face who we place in the first round. We might not even let y'all see AD and LeBron in the play-in tournament. That's how confident we feeling. I was a little nervous last night, Skip, because I thought we could handle that game with ease. But they kept bombing away threes, so I started to get nervous, like a long-tailed dog in a room full of rocking chairs. I was nervous like that, Skip. You know what I'm talking about. So, but once THT and Kuz took the game over for us last night, I was like, okay, we might be on to something. And I also think Vogel wants to see, Skip, you can't play 12 guys come playoff time. Who can I really trust when the rubber needs to meet the road and I need to play them down the stretch? Because you remember the night before, Skip, against the Knicks, I don't know if you noticed this, Big Drum played down the stretch and all of overtime. So he's earning his minute. Wesley Matthews came in, played really well. THT playing really well. So I think this was an opportunity for him. Another look. Guys, who can we count on? Who do we believe if we need a closing stretch that the best 5 players that we could put on the court to give us the best chance to win? And that's what he's looking at right now. But I, like you, Skip, was surprised LeBron didn't play last night. But it's another day. Get that ankle even healthier. Another day today, healthier. Friday, healthier. And then Saturday, we're going to unleash that fury on Indy. We're going to unleash it on Sabonis. We're going to unleash it on Holiday. Yeah, y'all got to see us.
Lord have mercy. Okay. First of all, just for the record, right now the Houston Rockets are the worst NBA team I've seen in a decade. That's how bad they are. I don't even know who their guys are. I never heard of half of them. That's what they've come to post James Harden. And by the way, did James Harden not look just superlative last night?
He looked really good, yes.
Okay, that's point number one. And don't give me anything about Big Penguin versus the Knicks. The Knicks self-destructed down the stretch of that game in regulation and in overtime. I don't want to hear anything else about it.
Defense.
They turned back into the Knicks. It was self-destruction. It was self-inflicted. Okay, now back to your man, LeBron James. So he has members of his camp, Rich Paul, leaked the news to ESPN and other key outlets that he will play Tuesday night against the Knicks. Doesn't happen. So everybody then assumes that he will play last night against the lowly Rockets. I thought, what a great way to come back, because I told you he could go Russell Westbrook on the Rockets and go, what did I say yesterday, like 32, 12, and 15.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think he would have if he had chosen to, and he did not choose to, and it was really weird to me because this is getting stranger by the day. And then...
What's strange about it?
Yeah, I woke up this morning and I thought, okay, who is the greatest excuse planter in the history of sports? It's your man, Ankle James. So what is he doing here? He plants excuses like they're magic beans that grow into beanstalks. So now he's planted the excuse of, hey, don't look at me. Don't blame me. I didn't even get to play down the stretch of the season. What's he missed now? Like 30 games out of 32?
25 out of 27.
25 out of 27 games. So he tried to come back against Sacramento, and he re-injured his pride because he missed the last-second shot. And then he tried to come back a couple nights later against Toronto at home, and he got embarrassed again, and he hurt his pride even more. And now he's going to sit until, will he really play Saturday night? I'll be surprised if he does at the rate he's going.
Maybe not.
He may not. Like you said, he may just wait for the play-in game, or I don't know. Maybe he'll wait for the start of the playoffs.
Right,
I do not think Golden State is any huge threat to them. Again, Steph Curry's right now this year has been about as likely to go 2 for 14 as he is to go 10 of 15 from three. So I wouldn't be threatened by the Warriors. Obviously, they don't have Clay. They obviously don't have KD, and they don't even have James Wiseman. So that's no big deal. But it does look like they're bound for the play-in game because I don't know if you've been watching, but Portland just caught fire. They've won 9 out of 10, and 6 of those 9 have been on the road. They went to Utah last night and basically just smoked them. They were ahead the whole game. And
Skip,
yeah, go ahead.
Utah's playing without Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley.
I know, but,
so
but again,
that's the big...
when you go there and just beat them up, that was impressive to me. Portland is rolling. And yet Portland's got the toughest closing schedule because now they got to play at Phoenix tonight and then Denver at home on Sunday. Right. And Denver's still fighting with the Clippers for that seed. So they're playing for something. Right. And then very quietly, your man Baby Bird, his team's taken off. They've won 8 out of 10. They've got Toronto tonight, and then they finish at Minnesota. And I'm assuming they could win both those games. And your problem is you need one of these two teams to lose out. You need Portland or Dallas to go 0-2 while you go 2-0 because you don't have the tiebreaker with either one.
Right.
Okay, so you're stuck. And it appears, to your point, like they're basically about to concede. We just can't get home. We're going to have to play that one game against Golden State at home on, what would it be, Tuesday night.
Right. Skip, I believe the thing is, I believe both AD and LeBron plays on Saturday. I think that's when they play Indiana.
They do.
And if they win that game, and they'll see what happens with Portland, will determine whether or not they play the final game of the season. Because if Portland wins, well, it's a moot point. There's no sense in LeBron playing. No. Let's go ahead and give him another day of rest. AD is the same, and then we'll just we'll play who we play, either the Warriors or the Grizzlies, and we'll live with the outcome of that. So I think a lot's going to be predicated on what transpired. How does they feel? AD still might not play on Saturday, but I think there's a great chance that LeBron plays, and then that will determine what happens in Portland, Phoenix, whether or not he plays the following night against. So because if they lose that game or if Portland wins, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Let's go ahead and get the young guys some more reps, some more opportunities. I like to see Keith Morris get some more time because he caught fire. He played well last night. He's been struggling lately with the shot because he's been in and out of the lineups, DMPs, not playing, spotty play. So I like to see him get some more minutes so he can get a little better rhythm going into the playoffs. But I'm not concerned. But to answer Jenny's question, yes, I was surprised LeBron didn't play last night. Not so much against the Knicks because I felt if he played against the Knicks, he wasn't going to play last night. I thought last night he was going to play because, as he mentioned in his tweet, Skip, all about the banner being unveiled.
Well, his ankle was good enough that he walked out and helped introduce the raising of the banner, right?
Yeah.
I thought they wanted him to stay off his ankle. I don't know.
Man, there you go. See, there you go. You want him to play. Now you talk about you want him to stay off the ankle. He didn't travel with the team that was on that 2-game road trip. He didn't travel. You ask him, where's LeBron? Where's LeBron? You didn't say anything about the doctors wanted him to stay off the ankle then. Yeah. Now all of a sudden the man walks out there. He picks up the microphone, spend less than 30 seconds on the mic. Great season, glad to have the fans back, and gone. And you were talking about, man, he all up on his ankle. You make it seem like the man was breakdancing, crip walking.
Hey, Shannon, in our upcoming commercial break, you need to text Rich Paul and say, why did you mislead me about LeBron playing Tuesday and or Wednesday night? You need to ask him, because he took you for a ride.
No. What did Bogue say? Bogue said that was a soft schedule. There was nothing etched in stone.
Well, I don't know. I even saw the great Woj on ESPN saying, he's going to play Tuesday night against the Knicks.
Okay. Yeah. No. I see. I was under the impression he was going to play either or. I didn't think it wasn't definitive he's going to play the Knicks or he's going to play Houston. It's going to be either or. That's what I was under, that assumption. Either or. But he wasn't playing back-to-back. Given that he had missed so many games with that ankle injury, it would have been foolish of him to play back-to-backs. So, like I said, it doesn't matter. Didn't he say when the playoffs start? He said playoff push start next week.
Yeah, I can't wait to see LeBron James playing a play-in game or a playoff game with the big penguin.
I love
That's how you're feeling?
Yeah.
Shannon, I'm just confused. I thought you were going to be there for the banner. I thought you'd be celebrating, front row, cheering, maybe help LeBron there, but let's
I only show up for back-to-back championships.
Oh, that's how
I only show up for back-to-back championships, Skip.
Oh, we'll see if that gets done. I don't know how it's looking right now.
No mercy. What a ride it's been for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Brady goes for the deep shot. He's got a touchdown.
Oh, my God.
Tom Brady, you're the real deal. The Bucs win. Bucs win. Tampa Bay is heading to the Super Bowl. My goodness, how sweet it is. How about them Bucs? Hallelujah. Bucs win the Super Bowl.
Oh, that smile. Okay, guys, the 2021 NFL schedule was released yesterday. We have a lot to unpack here, so stay with me. First, Tom Brady and the Bucs look to repeat as champs after returning all 22 starters on offense and defense. The last team to run it back was the 2003-2004 Patriots, so don't count Brady out here. The Chiefs also look to make it back to the Super Bowl for the third straight year, but 5 of their first 7 games are against 2020 playoff teams, and the Cowboys face Tampa, Kansas City, New Orleans, and New England all on the road. So, Shannon, after seeing free agency, the draft, and now schedules, who are your early Super Bowl picks?
Skip, for me, Skip, I'm going to start with the AFC first, Skip. I love what the Bills have done. I love what the Ravens have done. I love what the Browns have done. And I think this year is going to be Kansas City's toughest challenge getting back to the AFC Championship game and potentially getting to the Super Bowl. But of all the teams that, when I look at free agency and when I look at the draft, I think, for me, Kansas City's done the best job because what was their substantial weakness is now strength. You look at the offensive line and what happened to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. They signed Joe Tooney. Orlando Brown, they traded for Orlando Brown, gave him a first-round pick, who's a 2-time Pro Bowl tackle, left and right. Austin Blight, the center, they signed him from the Rams. Kyle Long, I know Kyle Long has been injured, but Skip, he was one of the premier guards. I could make a case. He was right there every bit lockstep and barrel with Zach Martin when he was healthy with the Bears. He was exceptional. Big, physical, could run block. Also, they could kick him out the tackle, and he could play right tackle. You get a couple of ops back in, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif and Lucas Niang. So, Skip, what was a weakness, a real bad weakness, is now a strength. They signed Jerick McKinnon in free agency. The thing was, Skip, their running game, they're going to have to rely a little, they're going to get a little better at running. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I said this, even when he had that exceptional first game, I said, he really small. I said, they're going to struggle if they just try to pound him the ball on 31, 32. And Skip, we saw in situations when they needed a first down on 31 or 32, they put the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hand. They asked him to throw the football. And the same thing when Mahomes got hurt against Cleveland, Skip, remember on that 4th down? They threw the ball. They asked them to throw the ball because they didn't have confidence they could run and pick it up for a first down. The weapons are still back on the offensive side of the football. So I like Kansas City, even though I believe it will be their toughest challenge to date in order to get back to the Super Bowl. But I believe they do make it back for a third time, barring injury. And on the NFC side, Skip, look, I've been going up and down and trying to find someone that I believe that can consistently, that you look at Green Bay, they got 10 teams. They played 10 teams that made the playoffs last year. I look at the Giants. I like the Giants, but are they ready to contend? So to make a long story short story long, I'm taking Tampa. I believe it's going to be a rematch of last year's Super Bowl, but the outcome will be totally different.
Wait a second. You just picked Tom Brady's team to get to the Super Bowl again?
Yeah, but they're losing this time.
Okay, but this is the 44-year-old quarterback you have tried to retire for each of the last 5 seasons, and now you're saying, I give up, I give in. He's going to another Super Bowl, his 11th?
Skip, if Aaron Rodgers was in New Orleans, Skip, some of the teams that potentially have the defense to contend with Tom Brady or contain him, I'm not so sure about their quarterbacks. And that's what, because at the end of the day, Skip, this is a quarterback league. You can tell me all about your defense. You can tell me all about your run game. You can tell me all about your coaching and all that other stuff, your fan base. But if your quarterback cannot perform under fire, you're not going, because as you go further along, the pressure, whether you admit it or not, it becomes more profound. And Tom Brady is the one guy that no matter how hot the fire get, he seems to stay cool. And no lead is safe from him. So with that being said, the only thing, the outcome of this Super Bowl, because of the offensive line of Kansas City, I believe the outcome will be different. But I'm not so sure. The same two participants that were in last year's Super Bowl, they're not back again.
Okay, so I just want to get this straight.
Yes.
Shannon Sharpe, Hall of Famer, is now publicly admitting, if not conceding, that Tom Brady at 44 is capable of winning the NFC again, correct? That's what you just said.
Yeah, Skip. Yeah, that team is talented. That team is very, very talented. And barring injuries, like I said, I believe they'll be 13-4, and they'll be primed to possibly do what they didn't do last year, Skip. They'll probably start the season, start the playoffs at home, as opposed to being on the road, which makes their road a little easier, and they're probably not going to have to play as many games, because you want to minimize the amount of games that you play.
Okay, but Shannon Sharpe says it's a quarterback's game, and he's picking Tampa to get back to the Super Bowl. So I think you're admitting publicly you have been wrong about Tom Brady. Am I right?
Well, Skip, I believe he has less landmines to navigate. I believe the stiffer of the competitions, the Kansas Cities, the Clevelands, the Ravens, the Bills. I believe the firepower I do, both offensively and defensively, resides in the AFC. Because look at Green Bay, Skip. Look what's going on there. We still don't know. It's still a lot to be settled in Green Bay. The Saints, what are they going to look like post Drew Brees? So whom else? Washington, are you willing to take a leap of faith and say, okay, the Washington football team? Are you willing to take that leap of faith and say the Cowboys, with the poorest defense they've had, they're bringing a guy that's replaced the guy that had a worse defense where he was than the guy that they replaced it with, that he was where he was at? So for me, Skip, Tampa by default, it should be the favorite in the NFC.
Okay.
I believe, go ahead.
Hold on. You've told me as of this past week that now you believe with all your heart and soul Aaron Rodgers will be back as the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
No, I'm not sold on that, Skip.
You're not?
I'm not sold on that.
Well,
no, I'm saying no. I said, and if a breakup, if both people will admit they're wrong, it can be fixed. A relationship can be repaired. Now obviously, Skip, there's some relationship that's so fractured, it's best that you just part your certain ways. But I'm not so sure Aaron Rodgers really wants to part. I just think that he wants some concessions to say, I'm going to be here at least 3 more years, or till I say I want to leave, which is, 3 more years. If he gets 3 more years, I think he'll be happy with that. So, Skip, I'm not totally sure yet, because I don't think they're totally sure. They signed Blake Bortles. What the hell they signed him for, Skip?
Well, they've lost their backup from last year, and I think Bortles and Aaron are friendly or friends. They've hung out together, so...
Why the hell Aaron Rodgers want to hang out with him?
I don't know. I think he's a nice guy. From when I've been around him, seems like a great guy. And by the way, he's won a couple of playoff games in the last few years, and Aaron's won a couple. I think they've each won 2 over the last
First of all, Skip, how many, Skip, there's a thing that we know. Rich people hang out with rich people. Movie stars hang out with movie stars. They got nothing in common other than play quarterback. What backup quarterback, 13th, 15th string quarterback Tom Brady hanging out with? Peyton Manning hanging out with? Man, stop this foolishness.
Okay, but they needed a backup who is no threat to Aaron, because we know he's got thin skin and gets threatened very easily.
And
so
guess
what they did.
Guess what he's not a threat to? Win games. He's no threat to win those either. Okay,
so obviously I am picking the Buccaneers to get back to and win the Super Bowl, because I've already told you they're going to go 17-0. By the way, Fox Bet has them favored in every single game, all 17, and I believe they will cash in as the favorite in all 17. And obviously, if I have them playing 2 home games to get to the Super Bowl, I believe they can win 2 home games, and if they get back, they're going to win it. So I guess I'm backing myself into the 20-0 corner with Tampa Bay. I'm going 17-0, which leads to 20-0, which leads to Tom Brady's 8th Super Bowl championship out here at SoFi Stadium here in Los Angeles.
Oh, so fine. Now it's so fine now.
It's so fine. It is so fine. Okay, now back to the AFC. I am now going to have the courage of my convictions. I am now going to have some guts to go out to the end of the limb. And I know it's early, and I reserve the right to change this pick depending on what I see in the preseason.
Oh.
We always say that. That was the whole point of this. You can't disqualify this pick because we're still in May.
Okay.
I am picking Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns to win the AFC and lose to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is about Baker coming of age, growing up right before your very eyes last year, went over those last 11 games without Odell. I'm knocking on wood for Odell that he comes back.
Odell going to be 100%.
Back. I know, and I don't love that, but I love this team. I love its defense. I love what Baker did last year. He went 8-3 down the stretch with 20 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. He was, by Pro Football Focus, ranked 4th among quarterbacks over those last 11 games. Their offense was ranked 2nd over those last, really, it went up 2nd for the whole year. And what's not to like about the best offensive line in pro football, and I think the best running back duo in pro football? Is that, can you argue with that?
Oh, yeah.
With Chubb and Kareem?
No.
I just don't know how you argue with that. And maybe they do figure out how to use Odell better. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Baker and Odell make some peace that he can't get every pass forced to him, that he'll get his 3 or 4 catches a game instead of his 8 or 10 catches a game. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I still wouldn't be shocked if they traded Odell, just the way I wouldn't be shocked that if Atlanta trades Julio in, building up toward the season. But the point is, what I really love about the Browns is the defense. So they go into the defense and they draft that Greg Newsome, the corner from Northwestern, in the first round, and then they steal Owusu Koramoah, that linebacker from Notre Dame, in the second round because he supposedly had a heart issue, which he ended up being cleared for. And they got him with the 52nd overall pick. And my guy, Lance Zierlein at NFL.com, he wrote of him before the draft. He only weighs 220, plays, inside linebacker. But Zierlein wrote that he has a chance to be the most impactful defender in this draft, that he is a game-changing talent. And if that's true, he could be a little beyond my guy, your guy, Micah Parsons, now a Dallas Cowboy.
I don't believe that.
Okay, well, we'll see, but that's out there, and they stole him, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be in their starting lineup. And guess who they also added? Jadeveon Clowney. And they went to the Rams and got John Johnson III, who I love at safety. And I love Troy Hill as a slot corner. And they got Tack McKinley to beef up their pass rush rotation. And Grant Delpit's coming back. And Greedy Williams is coming back. And you know who's already there? They're just loaded with Denzel and Myles Garrett. And that all of a sudden, that's a serious defense to buttress the offense that Baker led last year. So I'm seeing a team on paper that's loaded, that took off last year and went and won a playoff game against its arch rival at Pittsburgh. Obviously, they weren't ready for Kansas City, and you make fair and good sound points that Baker didn't live up in the end of that game. But it's all learning experience. It's growing pains, but he has grown leaps and bounds and started living up to all the commercials that he's made. So I say this is his breakout year. This is Cleveland's breakout year. And it just feels like meant to be that they open at Kansas City, and I believe they have a chance to steal that game. They're 4.5-point dogs. But the point is, if they could win that game, they might wind up, to your point, right back in that game at Kansas City, except this time in the AFC Championship game. And I believe they could beat them twice.
Skip, if you look at what they did defensively, I believe every move that they made was to get past the Kansas City Chiefs.
I agree.
You look at what they did. Yep. You mentioned they drafted a cornerback, number 1, after they had taken a cornerback, Denzel Ward, the year before. Greedy Williams, they took Grant Delpit, Troy Hill, John Johnson III, Clowney. All of these guys is to do what? To be able to get pressure on Mahomes and be able to hold up on the back end with those receivers. The McCole Hardman, the Reek Hills, the Travis Kelce's. They're like, you know what? We're going to pressure you, and we're going to put our best athletes on the field. Because it looks to me, Skip, they're not afraid. I believe they play them in a dime defense because they're not afraid of them running the football.
I agree.
And because they're not afraid of you running the football, I'm going to play the smaller guys. I'm going to put the corners because I want my best athletes on the field to go against your best athletes. I believe every move. But also, Skip, for Buffalo also, because what can Buffalo do? Throw the football. So now we got some guys that can put their hand in the dirt, go get after Josh Allen, but they're going to be able to hold up on the back end against Diggs and some of those speedy receivers. So it looks like Cleveland says, okay, where are we weak at? What are these other teams that play in the AFC Championship games? They throw the football, they have high-powered offense, and if we don't match them on a given Sunday, we need to make sure they don't race out to 34, 35 points. So now we can make it a nip-and-tuck ball game, and we can take the air out of the ball with our two running backs. I like what Cleveland did. And, Skip, I mentioned, the AFC would be tougher to get out of than the NFC because of Kansas City, because of Baltimore. Baltimore won't be a slouch. If you think Cleveland's just going to walk through that division, that's not happening. Cleveland Browns are going to be very, very good. Buffalo will be good. And don't sleep on the Dolphins, Skip. And I tell you what, there's a guy that's up in those, got some cut-off sleeves. He cut them off as we speak right now. He's in his office, cutting his sweatsuit up. Cutting them up, Skip.
Coach Subway.
Keep your keep your eye on it.
He's cutting his sleeves, and he's currently dreaming about facing off. Oh, sorry.
Last point.
Okay.
It sounded like I just talked you into Cleveland versus Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl.
Did you?
Nope.
Right?
Nope. I ain't going. Skip, like you said, until somebody take down my homeboy, you can't leave him. Until somebody beat him.
Well, he just got beaten in another big game by Tom Brady.
Well, which one of those guys are in the AFC is Tom Brady? Josh Allen, Lamar, Baker. Which one? Tua?
Baker.
Which one Tom Brady?
Yeah. And good luck with Tua, by the way.
Yeah,
the insurance salesman. You taking the insurance salesman, huh?
He literally lives at the stadium. How can you fault that?
He does a lot. He's always there working. Okay. No mercy. Well, one game we've all wondered about and can now officially circle in red Sharpie is Week 4 when Tom Brady and the Bucs traveled to New England to face Bill Belichick and his former team of 20 years, where Brady won 6 Super Bowls. He can become the 4th quarterback in league history to defeat all 32 teams. And in fact, the NFL's director of broadcasting and a member of the scheduling team calls it, quote, a once-in-a-lifetime game. Fox Sports NFL analyst Michael Vick joins us now. Mike, I'm jumping right to it. Who wins Week 4 at Foxborough?
Well, let me just start off by saying this, Jenny. I think both of these teams going to come into this game 3-0, which is going to make the game intriguing and good for TV. But it's going to be a very emotional game for the New England Patriots. And yes, these guys are going to come in fired up. Everybody's going to want to beat Brady. They're going to win. They want to win for their coach, which is plausible. I understand that. But on the flip side, you got Tom Brady on the other side, who's studied Bill Belichick's defense for years, consistently for 20 years, practicing against this defense. And I know as a quarterback, the longer training camp played out, the more I practiced against our defense, the better I got. The more I started to feel like a Pro Bowl player, the more I started to feel like one of the best in the league. And it was the confidence that was needed. Now, Tom Brady gets to design the offense that week strictly to beat the defense that he already knows. So I think the edge goes to the Bucs. It's going to be a very emotional game for the Pats. And I do think Cam is going to put the S on his chest, but it's just not going to be enough because the defense is going to be defeated. It's not going to be a collective effort. It's going to be Tom Brady putting in that work and really showing teams that's going to follow how to beat Bill Belichick's defense. If they can pretty much do what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to do, if they can duplicate that.
For me, Skip, I always thought that, and I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think this is where the Bucs are going to win. I think if I played against a former defensive coordinator who I practiced against every day, minicamp, training camp, during the regular season, I always felt that if I played them, they went somewhere else, or I went somewhere else, where else I could have success. Well, it happened. The game that I broke the record in, my former defensive coordinator, Greg Robinson, was the defensive coordinator at Kansas City. I knew in certain situations he loved to run the cover too. Thankfully, Mike Shanahan and Gary Kubiak was there, and they knew how he was thinking. And it seemed like every time he wanted to run that cover two, we had the counter pass, or we had a play call that I was getting down the hole. And lo and behold, 12 catches, 214 yards later, Skip, I had the NFL record. Tom Brady does have an advantage because for 20 years, he heard Coach Belichick say, if I'm the defensive coordinator, Tom, and I'm facing you, and you come out in this formation, on this down and distance, in this area of the field, this is what I would do because I know you're weak here. If you do this, this is what I would do there. Now, the one thing we know about great quarterbacks, Mike Vick, is they got tremendous recall. And what is Brady? All these great guys, what did they skip? They say Brady had a notebook of every defensive coordinator that he's faced. Peyton Manning had a book of every defensive coordinator that he faced. If he became a head coach somewhere else, he's like, you know what? You still gonna run that same thing that you ran over here. So he knows what Coach Belichick is capable of doing. But Coach Belichick said, Tom, I taught you everything that you know. I didn't teach you everything that I know. So I got another ace up my sleeve. You think there's 4 aces in a deck of cards? Nah, bro.
It can go both ways. Yes, it can go both ways.
I got something up my sleeve for you, and they're going to spring that trap on them. I got the Patriots in an upset, and Skip Bayless already gave me the points, so I'm good. I'm sitting pretty over here. I'm already up 3-0.
Shannon Sharpe.
What?
You're in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I respect everything you just said. This isn't going to be checkers. This is going to be highest level chess. This is going to be grandmaster versus grandmaster. And yet, what do I always tell you? What do I always warn you about on this show? There's one man in sports I do not bet against. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. There's one man in sports that you continually bet against and lose, and it's that man, Tom Brady. There is no way in heaven or hell he is going to lose a game to Bill Belichick at Foxborough, Massachusetts. That's his house. Bill Belichick is squatting in his house, and he exposed him last year from afar. Now he's going to go in there and expose him face to face. And I give you, it's going to be back and forth with a lot of, and I give you that Cam has had huge success against Tom Brady, but Cam is not quite what he used to be. He's an older man. He's been battered. His confidence has taken a lot of hits. They'll give it their best shot, but they don't have the team that Tom is going to bring in there. And remember, Tom's even probably going to be right on pace to have a chance to finally, once and for all, eclipse Drew Brees for the all-time passing yards in that game. It's made to order for Tom to go in there and give you a tour de force of everything Brady. Even at 44 years of age, he will light them up. And he will show, they ought to play over the loudspeakers our theme song of this show, thanks to Lil Wayne, No Mercy. This is going to be a no mercy game for Tom Brady. I got it 32-10 visiting team, Tampa Bay over Belichick, because I just don't think Belichick has the horses or the guns to fight back against what's about to hit him. This team is all-time loaded. Everybody is back. And as Tom said before the last year's Super Bowl, he said, we will be better next year, and they will be. In fact, I got them going 17-0, and this is the game they've all circled, and this is the one game that I would say is the safest bet is for them to win at Foxborough.
Well, Skip, Shannon just said it in the last segment. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a really good football team from top to bottom. You look at them defensively, the scheme, Todd Bowles, they're going to be better. And on offense, whether they're pass heavy or running centric, they just got talent everywhere.
Everywhere.
So, it's possible to go 17-0, but don't get it twisted, Skip. They still got the Falcons and the Eagles on the schedule, and anything is possible. Look, I know the Eagles got a new quarterback. You know, Jalen Hurts at the helm. We ain't going to be no punk this year. Ain't going to be no punk.
Okay, wait a second. Were you speaking, Michael Vick, with your head or your heart just then? I need to know, because you'd happen to mention two teams that you played for and love.
I'm speaking with my heart, but I do think, you know, in terms of the Falcons, we got some offensive firepower still. Just got Kyle Pitts added to the mix, so you know, a lot to be excited about defensively. I got to do some more research, and the Eagles, you know, it's just a leap of faith. So, you know, I'm speaking with my heart, but you know, my heart is where, you know, that's where my, you know, that's where everything lie right there.
Okay.
Skip, if you notice, Shannon. Skip, if you think about Coach Belichick, what does he struggle against? He doesn't struggle against high-powered offenses because he finds a way to neutralize them. What he does is that he put hands on people. He likes to play a lot of cover 2, maybe 22 man, because he knows what we call 25 coverage, 2 man, 5 under, 2 deep, because he knows Brady's not going anywhere. That's what he did against the greatest show on turf. If you look at high-powered offenses, Coach Belichick finds a way to neutralize those most of the times. But it's the teams that you like. You said, like you said, there was no way the Eagles were supposed to hang 40-plus points. There was no way the Giants were supposed to beat them in the Super Bowl. And somehow, Joe Flacco should not beat Coach Belichick. Eli Manning, that should be reserved for the greats, the Aaron Rodgers, the Peyton Mannings, the Drew Brees. But it's those guys like that ends up beating a Tom Brady team. Coach Belichick knows where his weakness is. He knows what a kryptonite. He knows, you know, Superman had kryptonite. I think the Fonz, he didn't like liver. I think that was his weakness, was liver. Coach Belichick knows Tom Brady's kryptonite or liver, whatever you want to say his weakness is. Coach Belichick knows it, and he will play that card October 3rd on a Sunday night, Monday night, it don't matter.
Sunday night.
You're going down. You're going down, Skip. Mark my words.
Shannon Sharpe, I'm going to say it again to you. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, Gio Bernard. How many fingers can you put in the dam? The leaks are going to spring everywhere. You can't stop all that. It's too much firepower.
Here you go. Hold on, Big Mike, before you go, hold on. Now, who you said? Mike Evans? Well, he neutralized. Stephon Gilmore. He in jail. Who the other guy on the other side? Chris Godwin? J.C. Jackson. Got his hand behind his back. Who else you want? Dante Hightower putting hands on Gronk. Okay, how you want to do this, Skip Bayless? How you want to play this game?
Keep going.
That's what we do.
You got AB.
Shannon, that
might be a problem. That might be a problem, Mike. We ain't got no. I got to see who gonna be the slot corner. But we gonna lock them two guys up outside. We gonna lock them up.
Maybe J.C. Jackson.
Yeah, J.C. gonna probably take Chris Godwin, and Stephon Gilmore got Mike Evans. Now you know what Gilmore do, Skip. All he do is lock people up.
Okay, you got one. I'll give you one.
No mercy.
The Cowboys' 2021 schedule kicks off with a bang when Dak Prescott and America's team travel to Tampa to face Tom Brady and the reigning champs. Dallas will start their season off with 2 straight road games for the first time since 2012 and will be featured on Fox a whopping 10 times this season. Washington won the division last year, but no team has repeated in the NFC East since the Eagles in 2003, 2004, and the Cowboys are looking to extend that trend. So Michael Vick, still with us. Mike, what is the Cowboys' record and who wins the NFC East?
Let's say 10-7. I don't know what that'll get you these days, but 10-7, 11-6 if they sign Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas. I think they need a veteran presence. You know, I think in the game of football, especially on defense, you need a good quality safety. I played against some of the greatest and some of the best, man. I just know, what type of dividends they yield on the field. I think they need that presence. I'm not just going to say that this team is going to win football games because that got the big bread. We still got the Washington football team who, has a defensive prowess and really good on defense in terms of their pass rush. And, obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles got a new quarterback. We still got Fletcher Cox. And the Giants, you don't know what you're going to get. I think the Dallas Cowboys, the schedule's a little funky. It's a little up and down, but they got to go out and win some of these games. They got to go earn it, and they got to go prove that they're the best team in the NFC East. As of right now, I can't just crown them. I'm going to just speak with my heart again and say the Philadelphia Eagles win the division. But I do think the Dallas Cowboys right now is the most talented team in the division.
Mike, first of all, the Eagles going to finish dead last in the division. That's where you're going to finish. The Cowboys are going to. I appreciate that. The Cowboys are going to finish next to last in the division. And the Washington football team is going to finish on top of them in second place. And the New York Giants will win the division. You look at the additions that they brought in. Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney. You paired them all already with Slayton, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard.
Stop with the quarterback.
You get Saquon. Hold on. You make it seem like Jalen Hurts is Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. Wait a minute now.
I think he proved to be good enough. There's a reason they played a little chairs this year.
Mike, while you said he's good enough, he had a worse completion percentage, a worse QBR, turned the ball over more, got sacked more than Carson Wentz and played fewer games. He was on pace. If he had started the same number of games, he would have been sacked more, turned the ball over more. Well, hold on now, but you said he played well. I'm just trying to show you that he didn't play as well as you may have thought, or maybe they did. But if you look at the Giants, yes, the quarterback is going to be key in every situation because we know Fitzmagic on any given Sunday can throw for 450 and 3 or 4 touchdowns. We know that. But he also can throw 3 interceptions and 2 of them get brought back for scores. But when I look at it, top to bottom team, offense, defense, special teams, and coaching, I'm going to take old Joe Judge. I'm going to take the Judge. The Judge, they're going to win the division at 10-7. The Cowboys more likely to be 8-1, but just because I'm nice, they'll tie with Washington, and both of them will probably win 9 games.
Shannon Sharpe, your cowboy hate did you in again. You have no objectivity. You can't see forest for trees. You're reaching, groping. You're praying. You're just hoping that Daniel Jones is going to win this division for you to keep the Dallas Cowboys from not winning the division that they will win. It's a quarterback's game. You know it. I know it. You just said it a couple times earlier in this show. And all I know is we have Dak Prescott and nobody else does. And I'm hoping he's 90 to 98% back from his career-threatening injuries against the Giants last year. But I think he will be. And I think the Dallas offense will be the most explosive just because of the quarterback. Daniel Jones, turnover machine. I'm with everything Michael Vick said. I do think Dallas is going to go 10-7, and I do think the Eagles will be the surprise of the division because of Jalen Hurts. I tweeted the moment they took him in the draft that he will be able to play quarterback better than Carson Wentz, especially if you give him an offseason leading into a season where he is the unquestioned starter. They're going to be a surprise. But I don't think they're good enough to rise above 8-9. And I'll give you your Giants will go 9-8, and I'll give Washington 9-8 just by virtue of their defense alone. But it's still Daniel Jones, and it's still Fitzmagic or Taylor Heineke. And I think Jalen Hurts is the second best quarterback in the division. I just don't like the rest of the Eagles right now. And they have a new head coach who seems like he could be the water boy. I don't get it. It's like they went out in the street and just tapped somebody on the shoulder and said, "Would you come and be our head coach for a while?" And he said, "Sure, I'll try."
And he likes to play Rochambeau to see who's more competitive.
What?
And go out there and play cornhole. Yeah, he played rock, paper, scissors because I'm a competitive joker, and I want to play cornhole, and I want to see just how competitive a guy is. Skip Bayless, let me ask you a question. Since Dak Prescott has been at the Dallas Cowboys, who would you have said has had the best talent, the best quarterback since Dak has been there? The Cowboys, the Giants, or the Eagles? Who's had the best talent from top to bottom, offense, defense? Who would you say? The Cowboys. What have they gotten for him? So now all of a sudden, because you give Dak is going to make $107 million over the last year. They're going to be exponentially better. Why?
Just because he's back.
No,
He's been there for 5 years.
Hey, when I say the Cowboys are the most talented team in the division, I look at the offense. They still got Zeke too. You know, you handle the offensive line and you put some guys in front of Dak and Zeke, you can score 30 points a game easy. You just got to do it right. And then let's not forget, Dan Quinn is on the other side. Dan Quinn is a good defensive coordinator. He's a good defensive coordinator.
How good is he?
And he did some good things for Atlanta.
No, he didn't do no good things for Atlanta.
Yes,
no, he didn't. He had a 28-3 lead, Michael Vick. A 28-3 lead in the third quarter, and he lost. He had the worst defense, the fifth worst defense in the history of the NFL. Huh?
At least they had a chance. I'm saying that you got a chance. You got a 50-50 chance in any ball game, and I'll take Dan Quinn as my defensive coordinator any day. The one thing he loved and he know, you have to have in the National Football League is a good safety. He had it with Earl Thomas, and Keanu Neal was a pretty good safety as he was growing.
No, he wasn't. Keanu Neal no good safety. Stop that, Mike.
A couple years before the injury, he was a thumper. He came down in the box. He wasn't the best cover guy, but he was a guy that later would, and that's all you need. Safe.
No, you need somebody to cover 9 space.
Come across that middle, gonna be scared if it's a guy back there who's gonna thud him a little bit.
But you can't hit them like that anymore, Mike. You can't impose your will. And you say you got a chance. Guess what, Mike? The lottery right here is $400 million. I got a chance because I bought 5 tickets, but I'm not finna go buy a $250 million yacht because I got a chance to win the $450 million. That's not gonna happen. Yeah, everybody has a chance, but what's the likelihood of that happening? Given that the Cowboys have had Zeke, that offensive line are a lot younger, Amari and CD and all these, because remember, they had Dez. When Dez was the premier guy, people say, well, who's better, Dez Bryant or Julio? Who's better, Dez Bryant or A.J. Green? And guess what? Lo and behold, 2 divisions.
I just think Earl Thomas got some football left in him. He's got the football smarts and the physicality, and I like Richard Sherman. I think you put them together and bring them on the team where they need a veteran presence. A guy who can keep some guys in check. I think this team gets somewhere. They got to make some moves. They got to bust some moves quick.
I like the Sherman move, but I don't know with the erratic behavior that Earl Thomas displays. I don't know if he's the right guy for that locker room, considering what you're trying to build. I like the Sherm. If you bring Sherm in, I got no problem with Sherm, but you better be careful of with Earl Thomas, because he'll destroy your locker room. He's a mercurial, he's a moody, he's a different type of dude. So you need to understand what you're getting when you bring him into the locker room. And I'm a firm believer, if you can't get along in Baltimore Ravens locker room, you ain't get along with nobody nowhere.
That's the truth. But sitting out a year will humble you. Trust me, I know. And I know Earl Thomas loved the game of football. You can just see it in his competitiveness, just his actions out on the field, his emotions.
Well, how about come to practice? How about come to meetings? If you love the game of football, how about do that?
Missing out on all them checks. How about a year missing out on them checks and how good the game can treat you and be to you and how much you're going to appreciate it. That's what Earl Thomas is dealing with. So let's not keep him on the sideline. Let's not keep him in hiatus too long. Bring Earl Thomas back. Bring him to the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm sure my man Skip will appreciate that.
I agree with both. You're a man after my own heart. But I need to ask Shannon one last question.
Yes.
Before this year's draft, you went on record saying who was the best defensive player in the entire draft.
Michael Parsons.
Thank you. He is a Dallas Cowboy. That has to make us better, right?
But you didn't want him. You didn't want him.
I'm not in the Hall of Fame. You're the Hall of Famer. You told me it's Michael Parsons. I got it. I'm good. It's over.
Skip,
you lost.
Skip, it's your team. Hold on. The Cowboys are your team. You said you wanted Patrick Surtain.
I did.
You say, I guess I'll take the consolation prize.
Well, I did. I'll take your consolation prize and beat you with it.
Consolation prize in a lot of ways. That is a good pick, and he's going to be a big impact. I really believe that. Mike, we appreciate you joining us.
No mercy.
Well, Saturday on FS1, it's an MLB doubleheader. First at 4 Eastern, the A's take on my Twins. Then at 8:30, Nolan Arenado. And the Cardinals battle Fernando Tatis Jr. and the Padres. It all begins Saturday on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Well, this news everyone has been talking about. Tim Tebow reportedly set to sign a deal with the Jaguars, but not everyone is happy about it. Rob Ninkovich is among those people. The former Patriots linebacker explained why he doesn't think Tebow will make Jacksonville's 53-man roster, saying, quote, "If you threw a helmet and shoulder pads on me and I haven't played in 4 years, I would be able to throw around Tim Tebow as a tight end. You can't just go from QB to a tight end. You can't do it." Shannon, do you agree?
I've been trying to tell Skip it's a different mindset that you have to have. Skip, I think the thing is as a tight end, there are very few tight ends that can just overpower. And there's really not a tight end that can overpower a defensive end. And defensive ends, they understand leverage because they look at Skip. If you watch the way defensive ends work against an offensive tackle, if they see him sitting heavy, which means he's expecting a bull rush, they'll go around him. If they see him sitting light, hand on the dirt, back it up, they're going to bull him. Well, it's the same thing with a tight end. He's going to use your leverage against you. See, I wasn't that big, 225, 228. So I had to be technically sound in blocking. And because but I had to learn that, Skip. It wasn't something that, okay, you're a tight end now and you just picked it up. It's trial and error. They feel you light one side, okay, boop, they tip you over now you're on the ground and now they make the play. All right, Sharpe, drop your hips. You're too high. It's nuances to the game that Tim Tebow is going to need to learn over an extended period of time. And I just don't believe because he's doing this so late in the process, Skip, I just don't know if he's going to be able to do it. Well, as a matter of fact, he's not going to be able to do it. So if they use him like you say, as an H-back, put him in motion, don't put him at the point of attack, things of that nature, sure, throw him a few passes here and there. But hell, I don't even know if he can catch the ball because I've never seen him catch a ball. But I agree with Rob Ninkovich. Most guys, think about, he got Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt. Which one of those guys you think he blocking? Zero.
How many of those guys could you have blocked in your prime?
In my prime?
Yeah.
I block every last one of them. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to block them the whole game. No, I'm not going to block any of these guys the whole game. But I promise you, I'm going to hold my own because I blocked the J.J. Watts. I've gone up against those guys, the equivalent of those guys, and held my own. But, Skip, you have to understand I had been playing tight end. I understand the nuances. I knew how to hold and get away with it. I know how to do certain things that they would ask me after the game, how did you do that? And hey, me being the good guy that I am, I can't tell y'all, but there are certain keys that you gave me away that I knew I could get the jump on you. And that's things that Tim Tebow, I don't know if he knows those things.
Okay. To set up what I'm about to say about Tim Tebow, I'm going to reread the Urban Meyer quote to his assistant coaches who worked out Tim Tebow, according to Urban, 3 different times and sort of warmed up to him because he was in such great shape. And Urban told them, this is what he told Chris Collinsworth, that he told his assistant coaches, guys, you don't understand now. He, Tebow, is the most competitive maniac you're ever going to talk to. That's the point that Rob Ninkovich is missing. And what I missed about Rob Ninkovich, as much as I liked him as a player, was I don't think he made any Pro Bowls. So all those top-level defensive ends you talked about, he doesn't belong in the same breath with.
But Skip, but he was an outstanding. He was outstanding.
Very good, but didn't make a single Pro Bowl.
No. Because he stopped the run.
He was a 5th-round pick out of Purdue, started with the Saints, wound up with Belichick. He went 6'2", 260. I'm going to guess that right now Tebow is 6'2", 250-ish, maybe 245-ish, somewhere in that ballpark. So the size difference is not dramatic. And
it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I'm just here to tell you that if you gave Tebow a training camp as a tight end and you taught him the proper blocking techniques, and then with a game on the line in December against Rob Ninkovich, if you told Tim you got to make this one block on that defensive end to win this game, I promise you he would not get, quote unquote, thrown around. Because he is a competitive maniac. Even just with his heart and his guts, he is going to block the hell out of Rob Ninkovich.
No.
I'm sorry. He just would. You're underestimating him. You called him a marginal athlete yesterday.
Yeah.
He's anything but marginal.
Skip, let me tell you, in all my 14 years, and I played against a lot of linebackers, none of the linebackers that I've ever faced were more technically sound than the Patriots. I didn't play against Rob Ninkovich. Obviously, I was gone by the time he got to the league. But I did play against Vrabel. I did play against Willie McGinnis. I played against some of those linebackers that he had in Cleveland. Skip, they're technically sound. When you step, they step. You step left, they step right. The hand placement, they do a tremendous job of what we call setting the edge. They're going to keep that outside arm free. If they're on the right, they're keeping that left arm free. If they're on the left, they're keeping that arm free. Skip, you're not going to get them. And that's what made them so unique. If you look, LT, Skip, when I talk about linebackers and Coach Belichick, I don't even mention LT because LT is a different animal. But you look at Carl Banks, you look at all the linebackers and the way they play it, the way they can, what we call button press, the way they can lock you out and set the edge so you don't get around the corner, they're as technically sound as I've ever faced of any group of linebackers that I've ever played against. And I played against some great ones. The Steelers had great linebackers, but they weren't technically sound. There was no false moves. It was hard to trick them, Skip, because a lot of times I had gotten good where I could trick a guy. I'd make him think that I was going out for a pass route, get him to overstep, and what I would do, I would hump him. It's a draw play. They ain't biting. They weren't biting,
Shannon,
Skip.
You got to understand that the New England Patriots in 2011 at Mile High were so technically sound that a quarterback, a marginal athlete, quote unquote, named Tim Tebow, ran for almost 100 yards against Belichick's defense and scored 2 touchdowns. I'm sorry, they couldn't stop him as technically sound as they were because he is a ball of competitive fire.
And what happened, Skip? Once they figured out what was going on, Coach Belichick got to the sideline. You're right. In like the first quarter and a half, he had almost 100 yards in rushing. Coach Belichick got to the sideline and says, guys, got on that blackboard because they make as good a get. What makes them so good, Skip? They're smart. That's why they can make the in-game adjustments that they make and halftime adjustments. He got on the board and says, this is what they're doing. When they do this, this is what we do. They shut it off, and they blew the game open. Skip, I'm telling you, with Rob Ninkovich, like I said, I didn't play against him, but he loved those big. If you look at all his linebackers, look at Kyle Van Noy, look at Willie McGinnis, look at all his linebackers. Skip, he don't want no small linebackers. He wants somebody that can be able to hold an edge, hold a point of attack. And they are as Skip. Look, I don't normally give out kudos, Skip, to the players, because normally it's the pass rushers. Everybody wants the Von Millers, the DTs, the guys that can bend the edge. But when it comes to the running game, but he also, Skip, he got to run routes. So he gonna get up against Levante David. So now he gonna run routes better than Waller, and so he gonna get up against Michael Parsons. Who he getting open against? I told you from moment one when this story broke, Tim Tebow will not line up at tight end. That's just some euphemistic label that they're putting on it right now because they will use him, especially Urban Meyer, who will be the artist of using Tim Tebow. Just look at the blueprint of Tebow's freshman year when Chris Leak was the starting quarterback. He will be used as an H-back. He will line up in and around the backfield. He will be used in many different creative ways, small but dynamic doses, and he will score the football. Anything short yardage, anything goal line, that's where he will hurt you. He is a force of competitive nature. I've never seen anything like, when I talk about Psycho Tom, I've never seen anything like Psycho Tim. You give him the ball in a big situation and say, you got to get 2 yards to get in the end zone. I would not want to try to get in his way because he can be unstoppable at 250 pounds. And then, Skip, and then on special teams, he really never played special teams. So he doesn't know how to keep his head on a swivel. Look, I understand they don't allow you to block like they once did, where guys could peel back from one side all the way to the other and decapitate you. They don't allow that, but guys still will split your wig. So he has to understand where the danger is coming from. Skip, he's just like, hey, he's gonna be just running down the field. Oh, I'm finna lay a hit, and then all of a sudden he's off his trees.
Okay.
Hey.
I'm going to say what Urban said. Shannon, you don't understand.
Skip.
And here's what's so funny about Tim Tebow, far right Tim Tebow. it takes liberal football thinking to comprehend his impact on football games because it's not conventional.
Skip, you do realize there have been offensive linemen that's in competitive suckers that couldn't block in the NFL. They couldn't block some of the guys that's on this list. You do realize, I'm talking about they've been blocking their whole life, high school, college, and made it to the NFL and couldn't do it. So you're telling me a guy all of a sudden, okay, we need this. 4th down, this is for the money. He'll set him on his butt, because guess what? The other guy on the other side knows it's for the money also. So what's he thinking? Oh, that's Tim Tebow. He knows it's for the money. He going to be competitive.
You could throw him around, right?
Throw him away.
Around. That makes me want to throw up.
Skip, I tell you what, sometimes don't watch the play, just watch the linebackers. Watch Von Miller, watch some of these linebackers, how they lock out and just shed the tight end. Throw him down like you're a rag doll. Watch how they do it. Some of the Sundays, I want people, just watch that. I understand you want to see the guy run a touchdown or throw a pass, but sometimes if you get an opportunity, watch the edge guys, how they press, how they lock the tight end, and throw him to the side like he's paper.
No mercy.
Money, yeah. That price going up here, baby.
Put that time in, get that money, put that time in, get that money,
Back in business.
get that money,
Here we go.
Oh, that music video, so appropriate for this. In a single year, Dak Prescott has gone from being underpaid, one of the best bargains in all of sports, to being one of the highest earning athletes in the world. According to Forbes, Dak is one of 4 athletes who took home more than $100 million during the past 12 months from team salaries, sponsorships, and endorsements. His $107.5 million over the last year breaks the record for NFL players. LeBron James was 5th on the list behind Dak, and Tom Brady was the only other NFL player in the top 10. So, Shannon, your reaction, please.
Well, being a starting quarterback in NFL is a very well-paying job, Skip. That's what. Let's start with that being said. Skip, Conor McGregor, thanks to the whiskey sales, Skip, we saw that he just sold his company, a majority stake in his company for over $600 million. So I don't believe that is a surprise. We know the soccer stars, Messi and Ronaldo, Skip. I mean, those guys, Ronaldo, Skip, has almost 300 million followers. So I don't think we're surprised because soccer is so big, not only in America, but all over the world. Soccer is really the truly international sport. LeBron, are we really surprised by LeBron? The guy, Roger Federer, Lewis Hamilton, no. But, Tom Brady is 76 million. Tom Brady only made, what, Skip, 25 million in salary last year? So 50 million plus bucks came from off the field, which is surprising because at least with LeBron and KD, they sell basketball shoes. Skip, I can wear basketball shoes. I can wear, you wear sneakers every day with your outfit. I can't wear no cleats. People ain't wearing football jerseys like they wear soccer jerseys. So I'm really not surprised. The only surprise that I see is, because I'm not really surprised at Dak, Skip, but we know why. I mean, he made $31 million last year with the franchise tag. He's going to make $75 million this year. But it looks like to me, Skip, with all those endorsements, he only weighed $1.5 million. Because if you add it up, 75 and 31 is 106. He's 107.5. So it looks like the endorsements is only 1.5 million. So I'm not surprised by anyone on this list. If I'm anybody, I'm telling you, if I would have had a son now, could tell him anything. Kick a soccer ball, be able to shoot threes like Steph Curry, or play tennis or could drive a fast car. I'm staying away from football, Skip. So for me, I don't think. Are you surprised by anybody on this list? I'm not surprised. Dak. I think you're surprised by Dak, but he just signed that big contract. Guess who's gonna be on the list next year? Aaron Rodgers. When he get $100 million to sign.
He might be. But I got to tell you, when I saw this story last night, I just sat back and shook my head because I never thought I would see this day. Dak Prescott is the 4th highest paid athlete in the world.
The world.
I'm looking at Conor McGregor. I'm looking at Messi. as you point out, and Ronaldo. And then fourth on the list, I'm looking at my guy, Dak Prescott. He's going to make $107.5 million this year.
In one calendar year.
I don't know about the endorsements because surely he's making more than they're giving him credit for when you've got Sleep Number and 7-Eleven and DirecTV.
And Dana.
And
Didn't he have the dad? Yeah.
And then, according to this, he's now invested in 4 Texas locations of the restaurant chain Walk-Ons. He's becoming a conglomerate like LeBron.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Yeah.
when I saw Dak ahead of LeBron, I'm like, it's unfathomable. It's impossible. And my only fear about it is, can he live up to this? Because everybody said back in 2019, oh, Dak is betting on himself. He's going to take Jerry Jones to the bank and then to the cleaners. And he did take him to the bank and the cleaners, but while he was betting on himself, he was pretty awful in 2019, the last 13 games of the year. He ranked 15th overall by Pro Football Focus in quarterback grades. And as you know, I keep pointing out because it sticks in my craw, Dak is now 6-11 in the last 17 games he started for my Cowboys. And obviously, he had a career-threatening injury that he suffered against the Giants last year, and God help him, I'm knocking on wood. I hope he comes back all the way. But Jerry's even betting on that. There's some X factor involved there. And yet, to Dak's credit, he went to negotiating war with Jerry Jones, and he won. And remember, the press conference, Jerry just turned to him and admitted that I overpaid you. Well, he did. Given what Dak has earned, what he has merited as a performer, he's not worth $107 million just this year, or as you point out, in just sheer bonus, $75 million. You get it all up front. So he has the biggest guarantee in the total contract in NFL history and the biggest signing bonus in NFL history. And I'm like, how did that happen? And how is that going to impact my salary cap long term? Well, not great.
It would. No, Skip, it won't hurt your salary cap because by the time it starts getting to those big numbers, you know, that new money kicks in and this will look, obviously, he'll probably be down to around 13, 14% of your cap, which is something that is tolerable for a team. But Skip, when you look at it and you mentioned that he's invested in companies, if that's what you do, what we're starting to see is these guys, they get the bag. We see Kevin Durant invested in a company that it seemed to have paid him tenfold his money. Yep. We see LeBron invest in company, Blaze Pizza. He started his production company, Spring Hill.
Yep.
He's done things. And so I'm glad that I see guys getting the bag and not just like, oh, well, I'm just going to go stick my money in the bank and draw that 5-6%. Skip, you take chances. You get with the right people. They point you in the right direction. And hopefully in 5 years, Dak will be flipped this $107 million and it'll be $250. 300.
Okay,
so
but
that's
Shannon,
what I'm gonna do if I get me a little bag.
I got all that. But what do you always lecture me on? What's the biggest killer in sports? Expectations.
Yes.
They just went through the roof of Jerry World, right?
Yes.
$107 million. Cowboy Nation will sit back and say, okay, you're on, Dak. Show us.
Well, you know, Skip, when after the third game, I think they come home. You know it's going to be 90,000 fans. So just imagine if they start the season 0-2, and then they come home for that third game, Skip, and they fall behind 7-0, 14-0, and we're heading into the second quarter. Can you imagine what the boos are going to be like? You know.
Can you imagine the sweat on my brow at that point?
So
good. I love it. I love it.
No mercy.
All right, so right after the NFL announced that the Bucs would open the season against the Cowboys, Tom Brady had some fun and trolled Dallas on Instagram, saying September 9th can't come soon enough. Excited to open against, quote, America's team. Brady included actress Kathryn Hahn's WandaVision winking gif to illustrate his sarcasm. So, Shannon, did you like, love, or hate this? I feel like I got to do that.
I love it. Tom, I think we need to follow each other, man. I mean, you know, because we got so much in common. Yeah, Tom, we got so much in common. I don't even really think you realize that how much we got in common. First of all, I dislike, I distaste, I disdain for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's start with that first and foremost. We both like fashion. but Skip, I mean, Tom just said, you know what? I don't give a you-know-what anymore. Tom just put it out there, Skip. He just like throw caution to the wind. He don't even care about being PC. He don't care about saying the right or doing the right thing. Tom said, I don't care. I'm out of New England. I'm about to be Tom Brady. I'm about to be the guy that I always wanted to be, that I can never be. America's team, my you-know-what. I love this. I love this Tom Brady.
By the way, it sounds to me like after Tom Brady actually recognized your existence the other night on your draft-a-thon, that you're starting to buddy up to him. You're starting to warm up to Brady now after you hated on him.
Skip, actually, my last Pro Bowl, Brady actually was his first Pro Bowl. So my last year Pro Bowl, so I met him, met his sisters. So, I mean, we bumped into each other before. But like he said, you know, he's like, bro, you supposed to be my guy. You be killing me. Skip got my back. I said, don't let him fool you, Tom. That's what I told him out the air.
Oh.
I got nothing but his back. And now he's going to have his back up against my Cowboys because he's just like Michael Jordan. He's always looking for something to get his mad on about. And now he's going to get his mad on about America's team. I got to rip the glitter off America's team and put them right back in their place on opening Thursday night. And he will. Yep. So if this were anybody but my guy, Tom Brady, I would hate this because I loathe this thing about quotes around America's team. I'm sorry, they still are. I get it. They don't back it up on the field in the postseason.
Thank you.
I get it. But they are the most valuable team, not in America, in the world. We just talked about all the soccer stars, Messi and Ronaldo and Neymar. Yeah. It's the Dallas Cowboys who are the most valuable entity on the planet. So they transcend. They're the world's team. They're not just America's team. They belong to everybody. You can go to whatever country you want and say Dallas Cowboys, and they're like, oh, yeah. You can come out here to Los Angeles, and I promise you there are more Cowboy fans living in Los Angeles County than there are Rams fans. I will bet you on that. That's what qualifies this team to be America's team.
It was Skip, but I thought America, we love winners.
Yeah.
That's what we're known for. We like winners. Y'all hadn't won anything in a quarter century. So y'all keep living on things of the past. It's like the actress, where she was an A-list celebrity in her 20s and 30s, and now she's 75 and like, okay, well, I need a part of the star. I need a starring role. Skip, that's over for y'all. Now, you always going to have the fan following. You guys, the Steelers, the Packers, even the Broncos have a following. And for whatever reason, Skip, people never really gravitated towards the Patriots. Even though they were winning all these Super Bowls, Skip, people looked at them like the villain. They were never the good guy. They were always the heel. If you go to speak WWE, Skip, they were always the bad guy. They never was looked at as the good guy. So you would think, considering that they won in the last 20 years, they won 6 Super Bowls. You guys have won none in 25 years. They would be America's team.
Well, I will say this. Tom Brady only wishes he had as many fans as the Dallas Cowboys do.
He's trying. Just one gif at a time.
You heard what he said, Tom.
I love it. Oh, okay.
No mercy.
Dallas released an epic video revealing their regular season schedule with lifelong Cowboys fan Post Malone helping with the hype. The rapper starred as a postal carrier delivering the 2021 schedule to Jerry Jones, and the two go from a sit-down meeting in Jerry's office to playing a game of Pong and later making it rain, of course, on Dak and Zeke. I mean, does it get any better? Shannon, what is your reaction to this?
I love it. Because that's Jerry Jones. The two owners that I would expect to hang with entertainers and celebrity would be Jerry Jones and Mr. Kraft. Skip, you know that, I know that. So Jerry's always, the entertainers have always loved Jerry Jones. They love his brashness. They love his outspokenness. There's nothing not to like about Jerry Jones. So am I surprised by this? Absolutely not. I would expect nothing less.
And I hated it. Shannon Sharpe, do you think Robert Kraft would have made a similar video with Meek Mill? Do you think they would to release the schedule? No.
Man, he'd be on the plane jamming with Meek.
This is what's wrong with Jerry Jones and my Dallas Cowboys. He insists to this day on being face of, star of the Dallas Cowboys beyond Dak Prescott, Zeke, DeMarcus, name somebody. Beyond Micah Parsons, it's all about Jerry. And it's hard to overcome that and win Super Bowls when your owner just wants to rise above the whole franchise and run the draft and make the big commercials with the celebrities.
I got no problem with this. I remember when I got elected to the Broncos Ring of Fame, I looked around, I asked Mr. B, I said, Mr. B, why the hell your name isn't up there? You own the team. If I own a team, my name going in the Ring of Fame as soon as I sign the papers. Shannon Sharpe, Ring of Fame honoree. Show it. I love this, Jerry.
All right.
Yeah, hi, Jerry.
It too. I love it. It's Jerry. It's over the top. Great stuff today, guys. That's it for Undisputed. The Herd is on next. Have a good one.